Halloween 2018 is directed by David Gordon Green and once again stars Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode. And this movie is now the official sequel to the first Halloween movie. It retcons all the other sequels, Halloween 2, 3 was kind of its own thing, so you can argue that didn't really count to begin with. 4, 5, 6, H2O, Resurrection, they don't matter in this one anymore. It's just the first one from 1978 and this movie 40 years later. So if you guys haven't been paying attention to my channel lately, I did a small series of reviews leading up to this movie. I'll leave a playlist for those movies in the annotation at the end of the video. That playlist also includes a trailer reaction for this movie and a previous ranking video that was also one of my first videos I ever did on this channel. So if you want to know more about my thoughts on the Halloween franchise as a whole, go ahead and check out those videos. I've also stated in the past that I was really excited to see this movie. This is my most anticipated movie of this year. Ever since they announced this movie, I was ready for it. I was so excited. I'm finally going to see a Halloween movie on the big screen. I was pumped out of my mind. I went to the theater so excited. When I heard the music for the first time, I got chills. I got some tears in my eyes. It was a great experience. And I walked out of the theater with a big smile on my face. This was a great movie that did not disappoint me in the least. Let's talk about what I liked about the movie first, because there are some stuff that I just didn't care for in this movie. Not necessarily stuff that I hated, just stuff that I felt could have done without or could have been improved on. But let's talk about what I loved about the movie first. Jamie Lee Curtis is probably the best part of this movie for me. She killed it as this character. She plays a different Laurie Strode than we saw in the first movie and even in H2O. She's a much more damaged Laurie Strode in this movie, and I think they did a great job with their character showing what she went through in 1978 can really affect someone and how it can affect the people around her. There's one scene, I'm not going to spoil it, this review is going to be no spoilers, by the way, I forgot to mention that, but there's one scene in a restaurant with her daughter, and her granddaughter that just, it was so sad. I felt so sad for Laurie in that moment. Her performance was great in that scene in this entire movie. I actually teared up a little bit when I saw that scene. It was pretty sad. Also, I can gladly say without batting an eyelash, Michael Myers is perfect in this movie. He's brutal, he's menacing, the mask, he looks great, especially the mask. And James Jude Courtney knocked it out of the park. He's probably my new favorite Myers next to Nick Castle. And it was great to see Nick Castle back in this movie. He did play Michael Myers in a few scenes. I'm not sure what scenes he did play, but nevertheless, it was great to see his name at the end credits. Also, the score for this movie is really good. John Carpenter and his son did the score for this movie, and it really shows. It feels like Halloween. Something I could say about the other sequels is that some of the scores didn't really feel all that great. It didn't have that spark of magic that the first movie had. This one did. This one feels like a Halloween score. The whole movie as a whole feels like a Halloween movie. You know, Halloween the franchise movie, as well as Halloween the season. The tone is a little all over the place, but for the most part, it has a creepy tone throughout the movie. There is some comedy in the movie, which of course I was kind of expecting because Danny McBride and David Gordon Green wrote the script, and David Gordon Green also directed the movie. They're mainly known for comedy stuff. And the comedy stuff actually did work for the most part. There were a few scenes where it's not that they weren't funny, I just didn't know if they fit all that well. There's one scene in particular where something really intense, and it was a what the hell moment. And I was so invested in it, and then it just cuts to two cops joking about their lunch. There were some moments like that where I felt like the comedy just didn't fit all that well. It's not that it wasn't funny, for me, it just didn't fit in some parts. Now let's get the few negatives I have out of the way. There's a subplot, I'm not going to go deep into it, but there's a subplot with a school dance. Luckily it's shorter than I thought it was going to be, but it felt a little unnecessary. I don't know if it was a callback to the dance that they were going to have in the first movie, or what. I don't know what. It just didn't feel needed. You know, it felt like it It honestly felt like it was thrown in at the last minute. I don't think it was, but it did. If someone told me that that was thrown in at the last minute, I wouldn't have been surprised because it didn't fit the rest of the movie all that much. Also, some of the high school students I didn't care for that much. I wouldn't say I hate them. They felt like Halloween H2O characters for me. One of my problems with the characters in H2O was that, except for Jamie Lee Curtis's son, I didn't really care much for the other characters. And it's similar with this one. Besides Jamie Lee Curtis's granddaughter, played by Andi Matichak, I believe her last name is, which, by the way, this is her first movie, and she's fantastic. I loved her in this movie. But she's really the only high school character that I really cared about. Everyone else, I don't even remember their names. They're just kind of, they're there for body counts for Michael, and I guess I'm okay with that. I just wish they would have given him more depth and more development than what they were. Overall, they were just okay. And of course, it's a horror movie, so we gotta have stupid cliche moments that just rolled my eyes during the movie when they happened. You know, scenes, I'm not going to give them away, but of course scenes where you're just like, why didn't you do that? Why didn't you do this? Why did you go there? Why are you doing that? There's scenes like that. There's one decision that a character makes. I'm not going to give away the character or what the character does. It's getting towards the end of the movie. I hated it. I don't know what they were doing. I didn't know what they planned on doing. I don't know if it was something they were building up to something else that they eventually cut in the movie. But when it happened, I just said to myself, what was the point of that? I'm still processing that. I don't know how I fully feel about it. I don't like it. I don't know what they were building with that. It kind of bothered me. I didn't like it at all. But those are really, honestly, my only negatives with the movie. The rest of the movie lived up to my expectations perfectly. I want to go back to Michael Myers for a second and say that this is the most brutal Michael Myers I've ever seen. People compare Michael Myers to Halloween 6 because up until now, that's probably the brutalest Michael Myers we've ever seen. I can argue that this Michael Myers easily tops Halloween 6 Michael Myers. He is so great in the movie. I can't get over how perfect they nailed Michael Myers. So in the end, guys, Halloween 2018 lived up to my expectations. It did everything I wanted it to do. I wouldn't say it surpassed my expectations, but it definitely lived up to it. I walked out of the theater with a big smile on my face, and I can't wait to see it again this weekend. I'm going to give Halloween 2018 4 stars. If you want to see this movie, but you're not caught up on the Halloween franchise, you're probably saying to yourself, now I gotta watch all the movies before I see this one. Just like I said in the beginning of the movie, all you need to see is the first movie. None of the sequels matter. If you're interested in seeing how the franchise got to this point, then I would say check out the other movies. But if you just want to see this movie, the first movie from 1978 and this movie, that's all you need. So if you've guys seen Halloween 2018, let me know what you think about it in the comment section below. And this isn't a spoiler. They announced this weeks before the movie came out. There is a sequel planned and a possible trilogy planned. What do you want to see in the sequel? Whatever your thoughts on it, let me know in the comment section. And as always, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, click right here. And I'll see you guys next time. Michael Myers is back.